So at the beginning of my time with Catalyst Missions, it's pretty easy to see the hand of God at work. The story is a little bit funny, but also it's just amazing to see God's faithfulness through it all. So in 2013, the board of Catalyst Missions called me. And this particular board member that called me is somebody that I've known personally for a number of years. She's from my hometown. And when she called me, she said, we would like for you to consider potentially taking over as director of Catalyst Missions. Well, there's a backstory to that. I had been involved with Catalyst prior because Catalyst was founded back in 2007. And it was originally founded to help smaller local churches engage in international contexts. And I traveled with Catalyst a couple of times down to Central America. So not only was I familiar with a lot of people on the board, including the original executive director of Catalyst, I was familiar with the organization because of my time traveling. But because of just some time where the original executive director, through some family health issues and just a change in direction that God had brought about, the organization really had been sort of stagnant for a couple of years. And I remember this particular board member telling me that they had had a meeting where they discussed dissolving the organization. But as they met together, thinking about dissolving the organization, they said, we just feel like God is not done with Catalyst Missions. The former executive director had done such an amazing job in setting it up and running it for the time that he was with the organization, and the board just felt, we don't sense that God is done with it. So back to 2013 when they called me. When this board member said to me, would you be willing to take over as executive director? I said, no, actually I wouldn't, because at that time I was finishing out seminars in the doctoral program. I was about to start writing a dissertation. I was in the midst of trying to plant a church. And on top of all that, we had just had our first boy. And so I thought, I really do not have time for this. And I will never, ever forget the question that she asked me, or the statement that she made to me. She said, you can bring any missions passion you want to this. And I thought, oh my goodness, I at least have to pray about it. So I began to pray about it. My wife and I began to pray about it. And although my original answer was no, as we prayed about it for months, God really confirmed in our hearts that this was the direction that He wanted us to go. And so it's amazing to see how God can keep things from being dissolved, even overcome the obstacles of an original no. And when I met with the board in March of the next year, in the spring of that year, and just said, my missions passion is to see indigenous leaders trained all over the world who do not have access to training, they wholeheartedly agreed, and that was the beginning of Catalyst. And so I am so grateful that they didn't dissolve the organization, and I am so grateful that God knew better than my original no, because He's done amazing things through the organization after that beginning.